Hey everyone. Have you ever wondered what it was like to be Sarah Connor in The Terminator, Neo in The Matrix, or even Matthew Broderick in War Games, depending on how old you are? In my case, Robin Williams in Flubber. I know that doesn't really make sense with the other examples. I just really like that movie. There was a time in which companies used to at least try to entertain you before taking your money. They'd give you a laugh. You would think about it later when you're in the store, when you saw that product, and you were likely to spend your money on it. Now, every commercial, every ad, it feels like it was made by a machine that learned humanity by scanning the comment section of Facebook for 6 minutes or perusing Reddit. Everything's got that same weird AI glaze now, those dead-ish, gross smiles, the fake sincerity, and this technically resembles human creativity energy. Craziest part about it is corporations are acting like we're supposed to be impressed by it. Congratulations, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. You fired 6 creative people, so your commercial could look like a hallucination somebody after eating a gas station sandwich had. It was like that episode of Futurama. Here's the thing. People are going to remember this polished slop. It's not going to fall on deaf ears. We're going to think about it years later. It's not going to be the same way those moments of collective culture we share are remembered. They won't remember the AI for the reasons you think. When it comes to commercials or ads in this case, and I can't believe I'm saying this or feeling this about commercials and ads, but we remember the weirdness. We remember the risk that was taken. We remember the stuff that feels human enough to fail. It's why the internet still quotes dumb, chaotic videos from 15 years ago while billion-dollar ad campaigns disappear from memory before the commercial break even hits. Or we turn to our friends and say, well, that was fucking stupid, and then look back. And maybe that's what bothers me about this AI stuff. Not even that it exists or that it's everywhere. I understand that it's here to stay, and I'm not completely against it. I don't mind when it's an extension of the human arm. I just don't like when it tries to replace the creative part of our brains. At the end of the day, I think that's what makes humans special. It's that the people with the most money, the biggest audiences, and every possible resource in the world are somehow becoming creatively lazier than the guy uploading nonsense YouTube at 2 a.m. in 2009. We're not entering some cool sci-fi dystopian future. We're entering the area of algorithmic beige and flock cameras, man. I don't know how we got here. I don't even think you know how we got here. I just think autofill kicked in and we're stuck. Now, if you need a couple examples, we got a myriad to choose from, but there was a couple that stood out in recent times. Everyone talked about it. Everyone had an opinion, rightfully so, because they suck ass and they make you feel uncomfortable. You know, when you take a shit and you're completely naked, or if you have to step out of the shower and you're soaking wet and sit on a toilet seat, you have to do it. It's there, it's in front of you, but you kind of get that icky feeling. Coca-Cola does that with a video. So, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, check this out. There was like 94 wheels on that truck. And I used to like those polar bears. And that truck has odd wheels too. Now, question for you while looking at that goofy sloth. If you want to punch that sloth and it's AI generated, is that animal cruelty? I don't think so. Look at the way it looks at you. You just feel gross, don't you? I mean, maybe your drunk uncle will call it magic, but I think most people would disagree. Now, here's another offender, equally as uncomfortable, easily jerking off and somebody that you don't want to see you jerking off walks in the room. You can thank McDonald's for that, but I feel like you could probably thank McDonald's for that in most cases.
It's the most terrible time of the year. The roast turned to charcoal and the cookies burned too. Freaking chaos, it feels like a zoo. It's the most terrible time.
Lock me in an Eastern European prison and play that Mariah Carey song all day long for 15 years. I'd probably walk out more sane than this being part of our everyday life. And stuff like this, it evokes weird feelings, things that you wouldn't figure you would have. I remember being a kid 20 years ago and hating anything that was commercial related, but it makes you miss those times. It makes me miss all the weird shit that was on the TV in between watching the weird cartoons or weird television that was on at the time. You go from watching 1,000 Ways to Die on Spike to then seeing a Sony commercial with a crying baby and no context whatsoever. But now it's nostalgic. Why? Because we all remember it and we can all reference it to each other years later, and everybody knows what you're talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm glad old dad can bring it to your attention and introduce you to this wonderful part of history. Now, what any of that meant, I don't know. The Japanese artist that threw that together is the only person that'll ever know. But I'll tell you what, it sure does make me want to go bust out my PS3 and play Killzone. They did their job. And yeah, it's weird, but there's something that makes me feel better knowing it was another human being that threw that together, and I'm uncomfortable because that other human being decided to be an asshole and throw that on fucking TV. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you had Skittles out there who were doing whatever the fuck they wanted. They were there to give you a laugh in a way that was against the grain at the time. It was like that. Or that weird little hedgehog, Tasmanian devil monster thing that was somehow related to honeycombs. I don't know.
Cream starburst?
Pardon me, what kind of starburst did you just say?
Berries
Berries. Berries and what else?
and cream.
Berries and cream! Oh, hurrah! Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. Berries and cream, berries and cream. Oh, I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream.
You couldn't go to school the next day without somebody screaming berries and cream or doing a little high kick, but everyone was in on it and everybody loved it. It was amazing. This was Starburst, not Skittles, my bad, but even so, killer. And Starburst, if you're smart, bring back berries and cream and bring back everybody that was in that commercial and do that shit all over again. Yeah, it would be a banger. Now, another honorable mention before we get to the meat and potatoes here, D-Brand. I don't know if you've heard of D-Brand. I don't know if you've been exposed to their ads on the internet. If you have, I think you're on the right side of things. If you haven't, it's time to reevaluate your life. D-Brand, I think they make phone cases and phone skins. Their ads, they're a bit against the grain, and they've been around for years at this point, but they reach the audience. They reach the audience in one way or the other. One of them being that people absolutely fucking hate them, and the other side being that they absolutely love them. If anything, D-Brand is in as fuck. They know exactly what yin and yang is, and they're capitalizing on that. The ad, easy. Because you're fucking broke, and we want your money, click here, peasant, at Daniel is a nerd on Twitter. And this was, or X, whichever it was then, I don't know. This was as of 2018, so I think it was still Twitter at that point. He made sure to tag them and let them know, hey, at D-Brand, guess who's never buying your shit again? This guy. Well, fuck you, Daniel, because you already spent your money. On the other side of it, since we got yin and yang here, you've got Bartos /Darkness96 at Blizniak Bartos. He tagged him too. Your marketing team is the best. Now excuse me while I apply for a credit card and get myself a skin. So Daniel, not giving his money, was replaced by Bartos. That makes sense. That's the way of the world. That's the way of the consumer. D-Brand puts out a good product, and they don't give a fuck. That is a recipe for success if I've ever heard one. D-Brand was able to juxtaposition themselves in another area that was very much yin and yang. People hated it or people loved it. You can argue that it's the truth, and you can argue that it's a lie. This ad was ran, and I saw it personally on Reddit, I think last year or the year before. I guess it was taken down. I didn't know that up until I started looking for it in this video and I couldn't find it. It was banned from Reddit, if that tells you anything. Reddit of all places. The Black Fedora itself decided to say no, tipped its hat and said thank you, sir. So D-Brand took it upon themselves to go to X, formerly known as Twitter, because for some reason Elon Musk wants this website to be like Prince. They went and reposted it just to show the world what they were about. The ad's simple. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. The next gen clear case. Thank you, D-Brand. Y'all are out here doing God's work. Another one that I ran past thanks to YouTube's algorithm. Probably AI fueled, but what are you gonna do? Root beer. I haven't drank root beer since I was, I don't know, 13 years old. Now, it gives me a tummy ache, so I can't drink root beer as much. But I do have fond memories. Whatever. Fast forward to 2026, Mug Root Beer knows what the fuck is up. They decided they don't give a shit. They let who I would assume is some random unemployed guy who slid into their DMs who said that he was a marketing guru take control of their YouTube account, and he is putting out banger after banger after banger. I want you to go and visit this for yourself. Why? Because I'm only going to show you a couple of these. I'll show you the one I ran into first, and then the one that really just drove the nail in. And now I'm going to go buy Mug's Root Beer despite A1C.
Mug and gabagool on the day of my daughter's wedding. You think just cause the mug is sweet that I'm sweet, Tony? You got a lot of lessons to learn. And I'm gonna teach you. This is my gabagool, Tony. This is my gabagool. Touch my gabagool and you'll get the...
Now that one alone, I don't care about your opinion. Mug is swinging dick and they know it.
How to make a mug salami cup. First you're gonna slice it, then you're gonna scoop it out nice and deep with a little spoon. Then you pour up mug root beer into it. Better be the whole can of mug root beer. Finally, just enjoy it.
Mug knows what peace looks like. And if you're not hollowing out a giant tube of salami and pouring an entire can of Mug Root Beer in it, you're not doing life right. Figure it out. Now for the meat and potatoes, the grand finale, if you will. To this date, 5.2 million people have shared likely the same emotions that came with this. There was a Denny's at 2 a.m. somewhere in the continental United States, the ground that I walk on. A little known band called Live Without decided to change the world as we knew it. Now, I don't know about you, but I could almost cry. It makes me want to go throw on my black skinny jeans and my black Dahlia Murder shirt, and makes me want to go crab walk across a Hot Topic somewhere. Fast forward to 2026. Whoever John Denny's is, he woke up and said, you know what? I understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. What the fuck is up, Denny's?
I am bringing back Live Without tonight to commemorate the night they made history. You gotta come to Denny's! Hey, yo, what the fuck is up, Denny's? Good evening, Los Angeles. How are we feeling tonight? I'd like to give a warm welcome to our special guest, Live Without.
You make me sick. I can't fucking stand it. Ugh. You wanna stuff your fucking gut? Dripping grease and melted cheese. One last move. My spin.
Now say what you want, because I know there's going to be the group of people that calls these dudes sellouts for getting with a massive corporation. But at the end of the day, every person in that mosh pit, the band itself, the people who contributed to cutting this video, the MC, the cameramen, Denny's employees, the police who had to run security, they all were a part of that individually. Every person moshing in there, they had their own thoughts, own opinions, own breath that somehow changed the course of that video in tiny little instances. Yeah, Denny's probably asked them to do it, but they all got paid and they all contributed. I appreciate it, and I would hope that you do too. I think it's awesome. I'm not saying AI is going away, and no matter how hard we fight it, I don't think that the folks with enough money not to care are going to care, because that's just the nature of the game. It's here, and honestly, we lost that fight the second your fridge needed Wi-Fi and your mom or grandma started sharing AI-generated videos of firefighters rescuing baby deer from floods that never happened. But like I said, if they're going to vacuum money out of our pockets, and we're going to willingly give it to them in some instances, the least they could do is put a little bit of effort back into the slop that they feed us back. It's not about technology, it's not about progress, it's about effort that we put towards each other as humans, and at the end of the day, the humans are going to consume and the humans are going to create. Old commercials used to be weird. They used to be memorable. Somebody had to sit in a room, a group of people had to sit in a room, bullshit back and forth and come up with dumb ideas that somehow worked, that we all kind of vibed with, whether or not we knew we did at the moment. There was somebody that had to animate it, somebody that had to film it, somebody that had to write it, and then you had to hire people to act in it. And in some cases, even if it was computer generated, and I know that was cause for concern at one point, somebody still needed to create those computer generated images, you know? Sometimes it sucked, sometimes it was the best thing ever, and we're going to talk about it for 20 years after the fact. But at least a human swung a bat at it, and they may have missed, but they may have hit it too. I want to say half, but I'd imagine over half of these corporations, companies, entities, whatever you want to call them, even the federal government, they're generating this AI melted nightmare. I don't know if they want us to clap or pretend like everything looked right, but all of us know it didn't. And when they watched it initially, they knew it didn't either. They just knew they were going to push it out and nobody was going to give a shit. Like we watched, companies are actually trying. Dbrand making their unhinged fucking questionable ads. Denny's leading into, again, the internet absurdity and that pop culture moment that we all resonated with. People are responding to it. They're gonna respond to it because it feels human. Even when it's stupid, it at least feels alive to you. That's all I really want, and I can't speak for everybody, but that's where I stand. If you're gonna force advertisement on us 24/7, at least entertain us a little. Make me laugh, make you laugh, be funny, be weird, be creative. Because if the future really is AI generated everything, then for the love of God, at least make the dystopia that we're forced to live in entertaining. If you're going to plug me into the Matrix, I at least want to laugh, or at least think that I'm laughing, right? But no, that's all I got.